Danny, welcome. The jury acquitted Maxwell on only one count, count 2, which is enticement of an individual under the age of 17 to travel with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. That was related only to a woman known as Jane. Explain what the jury would have been deliberating around count 2.
Well, not only were they deliberating count 2, the actual enticement, they were deliberating the conspiracy to commit that enticement. And they concluded that there was apparently a conspiracy to entice Jane to cross state lines. But the underlying crime, the substantive crime, there was insufficient evidence, apparently, and they could not convict. And while we don't know for sure what their reasoning was, it could be, for example, that they found that the purpose, Maxwell's purpose in having her travel was not primarily to engage in an illegal sexual act. It could have been for some other reason, and the sexual assault may have been incidental, the jury may have concluded.
Were you surprised with how long the jury deliberated this trial?
No, not at all. A lot of folks thought this would be a layup of a trial. But I suspect even the U.S. attorneys on the government side would have said that this is no layup. This is no walk in the park. After all, they were prosecuting crimes that happened decades ago, in the early 90s and up to the 2000s, a time period when I was in high school, and I am not young. So these were not easy cases to bring. They rose and fell on the testimony of accusers, and those accusers in several instances had given inconsistent testimony or inconsistent statements. And in one instance, one accuser hadn't even mentioned Maxwell the first time around when she spoke to law enforcement. So this is not uncommon for accusers. Memory is not perfect, and so the defense exploited that.
All right, Danny, what are you expecting from sentencing?
Sentencing is quietly, arguably, a more important part of the trial than the trial itself. And her attorneys need to be pushing to keep this close as possible to any mandatory minimums and no higher. As you said, the maximum potential sentence is in the many decades, around 70 years. But they're going to be pushing for a lot less, and the sentencing guidelines should be considerably less than that.